Welcome everyone, this is your teacher Julian Marin, and today we're going to review Martes de Prueba number 7 for the 8th grade in the year 2025. So let's start sharing so we can analyze what kind of exercises, or exercise in this case, we're going to solve. Yes, mentioning that, let's remember that is the first thing I suggest we should do in these evaluations, since there is a variety of exercises that are presented in Martes de Prueba, Saber Pro, Saber 11, and Saber Pro 2. So the first thing we need to know is what kind of exercise we're going to solve so we can put into practice our personal strategies, and many of those have been already discussed here or suggested by your English teachers. So essentially what we have here is what we call a language use exercise. So we need a combination of skills in order to solve these exercises. Of course, we need knowledge of vocabulary. We also need reading comprehension. We need also critical reading. We need to interpret what is the context, what is the topic they're discussing about, and that is very easily identified by reading the first paragraph. Okay, but essentially the exercise is focused on the use of language. Then we have to select which are the most appropriate words to be used in a given sentence. So let's start. So over here, what we have is that in each paragraph, we have a missing word. We have a gap, which we need to fill with one of the words that are offered as options. Okay, so we need to evaluate according to the message, the idea, the context, which would be the best option. So let's start reading. Nothing brings gamers together like a bit of competition. Whether it is World of Craft or the latest release of Mario Kart, these games engender amazing amounts of community and togetherness. The esports craze has inspired some of the most heated competitions the world, and then we find number one to finish this idea. Or in this case, number 21 in Martes de Prueba, 7, right? So let's go back to the sentence. This esports craze has inspired some of the most heated competitions the world ever seen. So we got have ever seen, has ever seen, and had ever seen. So over here, this is a tricky one because when you read with the three options, essentially you will consider that the three of them will be feasible. They could be possible good options. But then we need to select which is the most appropriate, okay? I will suggest the correct one would be has. Let's see. Over here, we see the structure that is being used. That is an indicator. Notice that at the beginning of the sentence, right, over here we see has. And that is one of the strategies we can apply, identifying a pattern. Because remember that in English or in language, we don't really have rules. What we see is patterns, generalities, right? So over here, we have this option, B. Let's continue with the second paragraph, and that will lead us also to question 22. Gamers who play Dota, League of Legends, Counter-Strike. So over here, you notice the commas. We get these are games, right? Over here, you see the capital letters, which indicate these are names, but in this case, specifically names of games. And then we have a comma here. And then we have many others. So we need to select which could be the most appropriate word. And, or, nor. Okay, nor will be negative. And in this case, we kind of mentioning a list of games. and many others, right? So we will cancel the negative one, and or would suggest like a contrast. But in this case, we are just gathering all these games into the same group. So I will cancel also or. Then the remaining option will be and this will be the correct one. Okay, this is the one that I suggest as the correct one. So let's see how it ends. Gamers who play Dota, League of Legends, Counter-Strike, and many others have entered the high-stakes world of competitive gaming, where tournaments take up entire arenas, official leagues are filled with franchise affiliations, and the prize money has entered into the six figures. Okay, so over there we have finished with the second paragraph and we have answered the the two first questions. Okay, so let's now we need to move. For that, we need to erase all of this. So we know 21B, 22A. And then we need to scroll down so we can see the full paragraph of 23. Also, we are visualizing 24 and 25. So I believe right here we can solve this three paragraphs. Okay, questions 23, 24, and 25. So let's continue. Paragraph 3. While there's a lot of money going into esports, it is, and over here we have three options. It is what? Yet, still, or now. So let's see how the idea ends, so then we can make a decision. It is hard to say how profitable the whole endeavor is at the moment. So at the moment is crucial here because we have a tricky one when it says now. It is now hard to say. In these exercises, the trickiness of the exercise is that many times when you read the three options, the three of them will sound as possible. Yeah, as oh my God, this works grammatically, this works as the idea, but then only one is the most appropriate. That's what we need to focus. Okay, what is that is what we need to focus on. So over here, I will go with yet. This is the one that I suggest. So is the best one. Is the best one. Now let's evaluate what's the reason. While there's a lot of money going into esports, it is yet. That means that at that moment in time, or in this moment in time, it's kind of early. So we need more time. It is suggesting that we need more time, or we're also suggesting that probably at a point in time we will be able to identify how profitable the whole endeavor it is, not at the moment, but probably in the future, right? So that's why I suggest A, yet. The only thing to be sure, though, is that the audience is there. Companies like Twitch, YouTube, and ESPN shell out millions of dollars just to win the rights to air these events. Okay, so we finished 23. We continue with the next paragraph where we can find also question 20. Going to one of these tournaments, then we have should, would, or can. B, a life-changing experience. So we're talking about possibility here, right? So should would be like guaranteeing that it would be, right? Also would be possibility, but can leaves open kind of a balanced possibility, right? So it is the most appropriate can. Going to one of these tournaments can be a life changing experience. If you want to compete yourself, it is an awesome way to test your skills against the best in the world. And if you just like to watch, there are plenty of hype moments there too. Okay, so now we're getting closer to the end of the exercise, working on the last paragraph and question 25. The Call of Duty World League and Call of Duty Pro League, for example, both bring together professional players to compete and climb the international ladder. Only the most elite players reach the Call of Duty Championship, which has been the game's highest level. So we got from, of, and since. The correct one here, the most appropriate one, will be since, because we want to mark over here, we're talking about more general aspects than just a specific year. So what we're suggesting is that since that moment, at the same time, the text is suggesting that probably that was the beginning, right, of the Call of Duty success and these events, right? So that I will go with this. Okay. So with this, we finish in Martes de Prueba review number 7 for the year 2025 and for the grade 8. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to subscribe, like, promote, so other people can benefit from these reflections. Thank you very much. I hope to see you in a future occasion.